and welcome to VOP Business. I am Kayla Abraham. On the show today, we will be looking at the CBN's call to the Senate to release monies belonging to airlines, as well as moves to strengthen the e-Naira, among others. Our first story is that the Senate has urged the Central Bank of Nigeria to release $717.5 million of airlines funds trapped in the country on Wednesday. The upper chamber also called on the CBN to allocate $25 million to airlines operating in Nigeria at its fortnightly dollar auction. These resolutions were reached sequel to the consideration of a motion titled Current Issues on Airlines Blocked Funds in Nigeria, sponsored by Senator Biodun Olujimi on Wednesday at plenary. Mrs. Olujimi chairs the Senate's Committee on Aviation. The vice chairman of the committee, Bala Naala, presented the motion on behalf of Mrs. Olujimi. The upper chamber also called on the federal government to urgently reverse the current trend of increasing airlines' blocked funds in Nigeria. It called on President Muhammadu Buhari to direct the CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, to pay up the blocked funds to the affected airlines. Moving the motion, Mr. Naala said that since January 2021, Nigeria had been the most challenging country in the world for the airlines to repatriate their funds to support their operation. In February, Nigeria alone accounted for 44% of total airlines' blocked funds in the entire world. A review of airlines' blocked funds in Nigeria in the last 6 months shows an average month-on-month increase of $49.3 million. The consequences of these blocked funds are cheap tickets are not available in Nigeria because taxes and inflation will have eroded the profits when the funds are kept for a very long time. This makes tickets very expensive and limited because neighboring countries get cheap tickets because of prompt payment due to the prompt repatriation of funds. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority has called on industries in the country, particularly large consumers of petroleum products, to transit from diesel to gas. The NMDPRA Chief Executive Farouk Ahmed made the call at one-day stakeholders engagement on gas utilization in Nigeria held in Kano on Monday. Ahmed, who was represented by the Executive Director, Distribution Systems, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure, Mr. Obugo Ukoa, said there was an urgent need for large consumers of diesel to embrace the use of gas, which has been designated as the country's transitional fuel. He noted that it was in this regard that the federal government had put in place various initiatives and policy frameworks, including the Natural Gas Expansion Program and the Decade Gas Expansion Program. The chairman of the board of directors of Consumer Goods Nestle plc, David Ifezulike, has announced his retirement from the company and revealed his successor. Ifezulike said that he will be succeeded by Benga Oyebode, who is an independent non-executive director on the board of Nestle. The retiring chairman said this at the 54th annual general meeting of the company in Lagos on Wednesday. He added that he had been the board chairman for 10 years and wanted to announce his successor at the beginning of the AGM to give him the opportunity to hear the concerns and expectations of the shareholders. Oyebode was appointed to the board of Nestle on February 24, 2014. He is the chairman of Okumu Oil Palm plc and a director of both CFAO Nigeria, and Lafarge Africa. Nestle recorded a 27% growth in its revenue for the 2022 financial year from 351.82 billion naira to 446.81 billion naira in 2022. The International Monetary Fund has said that the removal of trade barriers among African countries will help lift 50 million people out of poverty. The IMF said this in its recent report titled Trade Integration in Africa, Unleashing the Continent's Potential in a Changing World. IMF in the report also said the trade barrier removal would increase median goods trade between African countries by 53%. The report added that it would also increase to the rest of the world by 15%. The report further read in part, and I quote, "The paper investigates the role of trade policy and the broader trade enabling environment in determining the bilateral goods trade flows and country-level trade in services. It sheds light on how the implementation of the trade area and supporting policies could boost trade and income as well as help African countries integrate into regional value chains." End quote. The Central Bank of Nigeria has partnered with Benson Idahosa University, Benin, Edo State, to deepen adoption of e-Naira as a payment system and medium of exchange. Branch Controller CBN Benin, Michael Mbeze, stated this during a 3-day training of students of the institution on the application of e-Naira. Mbeze said that the e-Naira, just like the physical Naira, was also an official legal tender of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and a direct liability of the CBN, hoping that it will provide a platform to drive the digital economy of the country. He said that the e-Naira policy of the CBN must have been well thought out and should be efficiently implemented for the benefit of the society. And that is a wrap on VOP Business. I am Kayla Abraham. Do follow us on our social media platforms at VOP TV Live and subscribe to our YouTube channel at VOP TV Live. Thanks for watching.